Guys, welcome back to the Booth 2K. We're talking a little training camp. Got my dad here today.
Hello out there.
You been watching any of this stuff, hearing about it or anything on the radio?
Well, a little bit. One of the things that really weirds me out, I don't know if this is the first time they've done this, but those practice helmets look really weird, don't you think?
Yeah, but it's not the first time.
I guess it's the first time
Yeah.
I've noticed.
They look kind of like they got a condom on their head or something.
To me, they look more like they're meant to protect the egg, I guess, like an egg carton thing or something going on.
Well, besides the helmets, the beehive look there. What do you think so far? What have you heard? I know the kickers they brought in that Mahar again.
Yeah, the kickers have been a big story because, last year they had problems, and of course, I don't think that they really care that much. I heard Jerry Jones say something like, okay, the main thing we're concerned about is the extra point. Not so concerned about, going past the 40. If they can just kick it from the 32 and get the extra point, that's good enough. What do you think about that?
I mean, why? Because they always score anytime they get in the red zone, right? It's like that's not a given.
Of course not, and you know how it is. It creates more pressure on the offense because now, even if they're on the 40 and nothing else will kick a field goal, they know they really can't.
Yeah, and it's tough to come away from those long drives. And, it happens. It's hard to score when you get down there, and they come away with no points at all. So that's pretty tough.
Exactly, but you know what? I read that the Cowboys were one of the teams that scored more points, if not the team that scored the most points in the NFL last year. Do you know if that's true?
I don't know.
So I don't remember them scoring that many points.
Well, they did, but a lot of times they were, having to make these major comebacks. So especially in the second half of the season. So they did rack up a lot of touchdowns. They weren't always in a winning, for the win, but of course they still won 12 games last year. They had a good record.
Yeah, the record was okay, but again, when you take a closer look at the record, you see that a lot of those wins were just against teams that weren't going anywhere.
Yeah,
just
a bunch of ham and eggers.
Yeah, and so that's.
And then they had the layups in the NFC East. They had
exactly.
the Eagles twice, they had the Giants, and they had Washington. So
yeah,
that's one thing.
And I really do think that all the teams in the NFC are going to improve a little bit this year. I don't know about Washington, but I think the Eagles are going to do better this year.
Yeah, they probably will. Now, I don't think Washington will. Their defense will, probably be better, but they got Carson Wentz. So, he's horrible. Maybe we do have a good thing going when I'm not saying it's our biggest concern, but one of the things we're talking about and what the media is talking about is kickers.
Yeah.
That's fixable, right? They could find somebody. Maybe this Mahar guy will, he's been good. Mm-hmm. He was good with Dallas a couple of games he played.
Well, with New Orleans last year, I think he did pretty good.
Was it last year?
Yeah, I believe it was last year.
Okay.
He was with New Orleans, and I think, if I remember correctly, I think I saw that he made like 7 out of 9 or something like that. So, he was pretty good.
Yeah. So that's definitely one thing to keep an eye on. We're kind of watching this right now. We're watching them play the Broncos in their first, I guess, scrimmage against another team.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've seen is Zeke looks good. Of course, it's just
exactly.
It's practice. Dak looks really good. Defense, they're showing one side of the field and then they're showing the other side. So I understand that the defense is playing pretty well also.
Well, that's good. Now, you mentioned Zeke. A lot of people are still, saying that maybe we need to feature Pollard more this year because he does have that breakaway speed.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that he's at I think 5.5 a carry, and Zeke is under that, like 3.5, maybe 4.
No, I agree. He does need to be featured more. I know Zeke is a great blocker. He can be a really good runner because you remember the beginning of last season.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like he was back, right?
Sure.
But then he had that injury he played with all season. Then that goes to coaching, and more than that, Jerry Jones. The coaches probably would have chosen to put Pollard in more, but Jerry Jones
Oh,
You know,
exactly.
he's going to nix that idea. So,
Yeah, because it seems like he really likes Zeke, and,
Yeah.
and of course he paid him a ton of money, which everybody.
that's why he likes him.
Yeah,
know.
everybody says that was a mistake, but
But that running game, Zeke and Pollard, that needs to be featured. I think for them to be successful this year, I think that needs to be their identity. They need to get back to pounding that ball. What do you think?
well, therein lies the problem. It's always like, what is their identity? They never seem to have a real identity.
And that's what I said last week. It's true, but I think they need to establish one. But it's hard with that offensive coordinator they got. Although I heard him talk on the radio the other day. I've never really heard him talk in a while, honestly, probably since he was a player. It sounds pretty confident and stuff. Maybe he's going to get it together, and they do need to establish an identity. Although with this, what we're watching right here, it doesn't look great. The running game, the passing game looks pretty good. Speaking of the passing game, this is C.D. Lamb's. He's the number one receiver now.
Exactly.
With the other guys hurt, I wish they would have kept Cedric Wilson.
Well, Noah Brown seems to show up pretty good
Yeah.
at times. He really does. And I hear they've got another rookie, another kid. Well, I don't know if he's a rookie, but another kid that seems to be doing pretty good.
And we'll see Saturday in the
Yeah.
preseason game, how they look. I don't know if this is true. Here's another one of those stats that I heard. Yeah, I could probably research it and find out, right, instead of just bringing it up. But I'm going to say it. I heard that C.D. Lamb, out of all the wide receivers they have right now, is the only one with an NFL touchdown.
Really?
Yeah, so if that's true, that's pretty scary. But I think there's enough around Dak to get it done.
But isn't Gallup going to be able to come back at some point?
Yeah, at some point. I mean, who knows when. That's why I wish they would have kept Cedric Wilson.
Yeah, Cedric Wilson was pretty good, and he made a lot of tough catches.
Yeah, he was very versatile.
Yeah.
Very versatile. And, of course, the tight ends, Dalton Schultz. I'm afraid that he's going to – you remember last year he fumbled the ball a lot and kept getting lucky? It bounced right back to him or something. I'm worried that might continue with him. I hope it doesn't, but –
And they really don't have anybody behind them.
Yeah.
A couple of rookies, I guess. That
I heard they look pretty good.
really.
But we'll have to see. I think the passing game, of course, it goes back to the offensive line no matter what. So is the offensive line going to be better?
That rookie that a lot of people were really not happy with that pick as the number one pick, Tyler Smith, I hear is doing pretty good. And, he's such a nice guy. I really hope he does well. He's a local kid, so.
Yeah.
And I understand there's another kid also, Josh Ball, that is really showing that he can learn quick, and he's out there. He's a big guy. I think he's like 302 or something like that.
Yeah, that Tyler Smith. I was one who wasn't very happy about that because my nephew told me he was horrible.
Yes.
And but now I'm starting to, I'm hearing some good things too, really good things. I heard he's flattening people.
Yeah, and I think that some of that, I remember seeing some of those clips where he wasn't really or he was missing a lot of assignments, but evidently they've coached him up, and I think he's doing better. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I understand he keeps playing with the second team. They're playing different positions. I hope Dallas doesn't do that thing they do with players that are so good at one position they decide, let's play them somewhere else.
Oh, exactly.
They do that. They've been doing that kind of crap around here forever.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that doesn't happen.
For sure. What was that kid that I think they traded him? Looney. Joe Looney. He was a center.
Yeah, they cut him.
Yeah, I know. I like that guy.
Yeah, he was solid, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was serviceable.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they would cut that guy.
I think he was a better option at center than what they had last year.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I know he's playing for somebody, but I don't know who.
I think he retired.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd bring him back.
Okay.
Watching this, going back to the practice here, the scrimmage, guess what there's been a lot of?
What?
Penalties.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's another big problem.
Penalties are back, and it's on the offensive side. It's that plagued Dallas last year. How many times did Dak have to go from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 11?
Well, it almost seemed like it was 50% of the time.
Yeah, it was rough. That's hard on a quarterback.
Yeah. No.
I know he gets a lot of crap, and I've been critical of him at times, but Tom Brady would have a problem with that. You know,
Yeah, that's
maybe not Tom Brady. But
Yeah, well, no matter what, I mean, it's got to be disheartening especially when you got a 20, 30-yard gain, then it's called back because something dumb that somebody did, you know?
Yeah, instead of going 30 yards forward, you go 10 yards back
Exactly.
because of a holding call.
Yeah, that's a problem. They have to.
Yeah, they're talking a lot about Trayvon Diggs in a negative way. He deleted his Twitter, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame them. They all should do that.
They really should.
That's a terrible environment. You know, that's a terrible headspace to get you in. You know, you're reading that stuff all the time. And these young guys, it's part of their deal. You know, they're going to do it. So get rid of it. Just focus in on the positive.
Well, what's the criticism?
That he's given up a ton of yards, which he did, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think he makes up for it with the interceptions.
Exactly.
And it's not all his fault. You know, the people always point to that game against the Patriots where they got right back in the game after he had that pick six. Then they throw it down the field and immediately score. Well, that safety blew his assignment back there. It's not just on Trayvon Diggs. The guy's smart. He's got a nose for the ball. I don't got a problem with him at all.
No, and no matter what, everybody gets burned once in a while.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen, but no matter what, the guys up front really need to put that pressure.
Yeah, and I think they will. You know, Michael Parsons, I bet, is going to do even better. And there's some other guys, you know, in there that are playing really good. Some Anthony Barr, the linebacker they got. I'm really happy about that.
How about, do you think we'll miss Gregory?
I don't think so. I think maybe at first, but I think that this new group of guys are going to come on and make up for that. Parsons, with Anthony Barr there, that's going to give Parsons some more room to run around. And Barr can also rush the passer too. So I don't think he's going to be missed that much, honestly. I mean, unless you're counting on those defensive penalties, you know, lining up all sides and all that.
Yeah, and of course, DeMarcus, what do you think?
Oh, I think he's going to have a big year.
Think so?
I think, well, you know, talking defense, offense, everything, it always comes back down to number 4, right? The quarterback.
That's right. And of course, you know, I'm really hoping that this season will be his best season. If he can just equal what he did his rookie season, I'll be happy.
Yeah, what was that?
I think he only had 3 or 4 interceptions, and he had like 29 touchdowns.
Jesus Christ.
That ratio
Can you imagine that?
Is amazing.
Especially coming off the Tony Romo years, which I love Romo, but he had some interceptions, costly ones.
Exactly, especially when in big games seem like. And again, I, as much as anybody else, wanted Romo to get a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
coaching was a major issue then too, as it is now.
Yeah,
you know, Garrett and Jerry Jones, you know.
And a lot of the problems were, at least the first few seasons for him, was the offensive line.
Yeah,
offered
several
no protection.
seasons, several seasons. But this line should hold up this season, good enough. And you know, talking about that rookie season, Dak had a lot of running yards that were meaningful. You know, very meaningful. He needs to get back to that. Last year, no matter what he says, he was nervous last year.
Yeah, he was really shy about it.
Because there was times he could have ran.
And who can blame the guy?
I don't either.
I still remember that video. It was terrible.
Yeah,
that injury.
I can't stand seeing it.
Yeah.
You know, that's a horrible thing.
You had a similar injury like that.
Well, I've had 2 on both ankles.
So yeah, you know how that is.
But I didn't have millions of dollars to lay on as a contract. You know, $1 million contract to sleep on. So.
Exactly. Well, how about Cooper Rush?
He was good last year against Minnesota.
Did he win
good.
He won a game.
Yeah, in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football, Halloween night actually.
And that's all you need to. That's all you need to expect from a quarterback. A backup is to be serviceable.
Yeah.
You know, just don't lose a game. For him. And I think
if you're in there for several games, try to win half of them.
Exactly, and that's all you can expect from backup. How about Janucci?
I don't think he's going to make the team. I guess we'll talk, guys. We're going to talk next time after the preseason game. We'll see what goes on there. Hopefully, keep fingers crossed again. Nobody gets hurt. But real quick, I want to show you guys something. Look at this comic book from 1973. Let me get up close to it. Tom Landry comic book. You think?
Wow!
Isn't that neat?
Tom Landry. Wow.
Yeah, my wife found this for me at a thrift store.
Really? Wow! I've never seen that.
Yeah, me either.
That's amazing.
Got if you look closely, let me put it back up here. You can see Roger Staubach in there, and some others. But I don't think we'll ever see a Jason Garrett,
No,
Mike McCarthy comic book. So.
probably not. That is so cool.
All right, guys, we'll see y'all after the preseason game.
Okay, and boom goes the dynamite.
Okay, Dad. He's been dying to say that. So okay. All right, thanks, guys.